Hi, welcome back. Today I want to read to you my icebreaker speech. It's what I have so far, and I'll essentially be memorizing this. But the idea is to formulate my presentation in a way that doesn't seem like I'm reading off a piece of paper or like I've just memorized a script, which I will. But that's part of the process. This is the third rendition of my speech, and it's all typed out. And it all started in this graph paper notebook. There's no real reason for graph paper. It just happened to be the only notebook I had when I started writing. So without further ado, my name is Mike Haley, as you have just heard. But my full birth name is Robert Michael Haley. I obviously go by Mike, as do the men in my family. As is the tradition for the men in my family, at least my father's side. My name is Mike Haley. Nope, that doesn't work. My name is Mike Haley, as you have just heard. But my full birth name is Robert Michael Haley. Obviously, I go by my middle name, as do the men in my family, at least on my father's side. My son's name is William Declan Haley. That is not how I have this shit written down. Obviously, I go by my middle name, as is the tradition with all the men in my family on my father's side. You see, I'm named after my grandfather, Robert, and my son's named after my father, William. My son's full name is William Declan Haley, and you guessed it, he goes by Declan. But I call him Chicken Butt because I'm his dad. That's what dads do. Now, I realize that aesthetically, I don't match my name. And even though it may somehow be unbelievable that that name was originally designed for me, I assure you it was. I'd love to give you some background. Fellow Toastmasters, friends, new family. Show of hands, how many of you can resonate with the nomadic lifestyle? How many of you have packed up and moved to a new town so many times you can't count on one hand throughout your life? Yeah? Well, I can assure you a lot of things. Well, my first 38 years on this planet have been exactly that. Have been just that. Nomadic. It all started in a country we refer to as the Philippines. My father, Rusty, was a young Caucasian airman, just fresh in the Air Force. His first assignment in a land vastly different from his hometown in Tennessee. This is where he met my mother, Erlinda, a young, beautiful countryside girl full of wonder and eagerness to see the world. She happened to be working as a nanny for my dad's boss at the time. The two of them were products of some pretty harsh backgrounds, and they were about to embark on a very colorful journey together. Shortly after I was born, we moved over to the States, Colorado to be exact, where we were there for a few years, and then on to Germany, where my sister was born. And from Germany, we went to California, then from California to New Mexico. Well, in California, my parents got divorced. So, just so happened that my mother's remarriage was with another military man. See, her career may have been unconventional and somewhat obnoxious at times, but it seemed to work for her. I mean, after all, she's a small town girl with no education higher than high school, and she's seen the world. She's lived in Japan, for crying out loud. Now you may be, well, hold on, let me tell you where else I've lived. Okay. So, when my mother remarried, she was then moving to New Mexico. I moved to New Mexico. From New Mexico, I graduated high school and I moved to England. And from England, I moved back to the States where I landed in Florida. Eventually, I ended up back here in Sacramento, and that's where I've been for the last 11 years.